This is the first in a series of videos I'll be making on cybersecurity concepts. These will be based around some of the principles in the CISSP certification exams. They're also useful for anyone interested in learning more about IT security and how to keep your systems safe. Where appropriate, I'll be referring to real-world examples, and in future videos I'll be demonstrating some simulated attacks. If this is something you'd be interested in, please subscribe and click the notification icon to see future videos. This is from the Domain 1 of CISSP, Security and Risk Management. One of the key security models is the CIA Triad. This is a high-level concept which stands for confidentiality, availability and integrity. Looking at these in turn, we'll start with confidentiality, and this is the first aspect of the CIA Triad. It's about keeping data secret so that it can only be accessed by those who have the appropriate permissions. It extends beyond information about a person and may also involve restricting access to data objects and resources, whilst must continue to allow authorised access. Breaches of confidentiality may not always be intentional. They could be the result of a human error, lack of oversight, lack of understanding or incompetence. Clearly there have been many breaches of security, some of which have hit the headlines. T-Mobile have experienced data breaches which resulted in personal information of millions of their customers being stolen. The Sony attack in 2014, where terabytes of data were stolen from Sony's servers, including some unreleased films. And to look at some of the specific aspects of confidentiality, I'm going to break this down into a number of points. First is sensitivity. This is about information which could cause harm or damage. Discretion. This is information which, if it was acted upon, could influence or control events or cause harm or damage. Criticality. A measure of how critical the information is, particularly to a corporation. Concealment. Concealment is a way of hiding or preventing disclosure. If you're looking at concealing information, it shouldn't be just about not linking to it and the information's still there, hoping that people don't find it. It's about making sure the information is hidden so that they're not aware of it, as well as it being unaccessible to them. Secrecy. And this is the act of keeping something secret. And privacy, which is keeping information confidential, particularly information which is personally identifiable or may cause embarrassment. Seclusion is about storing something out of a way location, usually with strict access controls. For example, you may have a different place to store credit card information rather than it being in the normal database. Isolation is similar to seclusion, but takes it a step further. So it may be that you actually store those credit card information in a way that can only be accessed by certain systems. So in a separate system that's isolated from the others. The second aspect of the CIA Triad is integrity, which is about the reliability and correctness of data. It involves preventing unauthorised alterations, which may be malicious activities, such as someone looking to change their grade, a classic from the film War Games, or a virus destroying data, or it could be through a mistake by authorised users. Controls must be in place to restrict access to data, objects and resources. Confidentiality and integrity depend on each other. Perhaps an extreme example of what damage can be done with integrity is with the Stuxnet computer worm. This considered to have been a cyber weapon, and it caused substantial damage to the Iranian nuclear program. In that case, it wasn't the data that was being corrupted, but it was targeted at the code for the programmable logic controllers, PLCs, and it caused the gas centrifuges to spin out of control, causing physical damage. If we look at integrity in a bit more detail, You can break this down into a number of points as well. There's the accuracy. Data needs to be accurate, needs to be correct and precise. Truthfulness. It should be a true reflection of reality. Validity means it's factually or logically sound. Accountability, and this is that the operators should be responsible for their actions and the results of those actions. Responsibility, it should be someone or something in charge or having control over the data. Completeness, data should be complete, including all the necessary components and parts. It's no good having only part of a person's details. And comprehensive, it should be complete in scope. And then the final aspect of the CIA Triad is availability. Availability, it's about having uninterrupted access to the services. The system should have sufficient processing capability, bandwidth and timeliness as deemed necessary. Threats can include denial of service attacks, environmental and human errors, which could arise due to lack of oversight or lack of competence. It could be a result of badly configured services, including security rules. To give some real examples, a denial of service attack can be difficult to protect against, particularly if distributed across a botnet. The problem is that the cost of resources such as bandwidth and processing to allow genuine access. I had some of my own software which I experienced a denial of service attack on. In that case, the attacks were from a single address. I was able to add code to detect a potential attack and block against it. A much worse example was the WannaCry ransomware. It had significant impact on the UK National Health Service in 2017. In that case, it was a crypto worm, which would infect and encrypt computers that were running an unpatched version of Windows 7. It had a significant impact on the IT systems and the ability to provide medical care. Fortunately, a kill switch was discovered by Marcus Hutchins. Whilst often credited as a white attacker for this, he had a darker side, including working on the Cronus malware. So look at the CIA Triad in more detail, and there's a few concepts here. So first one is usability. It needs to be easy to use. And accessibility. It should be a wide range of subjects that can interact with the resource. Timeliness, and this means it should be prompt, on demand, reasonable response time, including low latency. The CIA Triad is not the only model for applying security. There are many others. One example is the DAD or DAD Triad. This takes the opposite approach of CIA in that by identifying the things that you want to avoid rather than the things that you desire, which was the CIA Triad. These are D for disclosure, A for alteration, and then D for destruction. And then we can also look at some other models. The AAA or AAA model is an important one which I'll be covering in a future video, which looks at authorization and authentication. I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope this has been useful. If so, please give it a like so I know that these are worthwhile and people are responding to these. I'll be looking at putting more of these together, and if you're interested in watching those future videos, please subscribe to this channel and click on the notification icon to get notified about the future videos. Thanks for watching.